നന്ദി നന്ദി എൻ ദൈവമേ, നന്ദി എന്നേശുപരാ. കർത്താവിൻ്റെ വലിയ നാമം വാഴ്ത്തപ്പെടുമാറാകട്ടെ. അനുഗ്രഹിക്കപ്പെട്ട ഈ കാലം എൻ്റെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ടവരോടൊത്ത്, നിങ്ങളോടെല്ലാവരോടൊത്ത് ഇവിടെ ആയിരിക്കാൻ കർത്താവ് തന്ന സാവകാശനായി കർത്താവിനെ വാഴ്ത്തുന്നു, സ്തുതിക്കുന്നു. നിങ്ങൾ പലര് അനേക പ്രാവശ്യം പാസ്റ്ററുകൾ വീണ്ടും സാക്ഷ്യം പറയാൻ പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ ഞാനും ചിന്തിച്ചു, അനേക പ്രാവശ്യം കേട്ടവർ ഇവിടെ ഇരിപ്പുണ്ട്. എസ്പെഷ്യലി എൻ്റെ ഫാമിലി എവിടെ വന്നാലും അവർ തന്നെ അത് കേൾക്കുന്ന പിന്നെയും. പക്ഷേ കർത്താവ് ചെയ്ത ഉപകാരം, കർത്താവ് ജീവിതത്തിൽ ചെയ്ത കാര്യങ്ങൾ എത്ര പ്രാവശ്യം അത് വർണ്ണിച്ചാലും, എത്ര പ്രാവശ്യം അത് പറഞ്ഞാലും അതൊരിക്കലും ആവർത്തന വിരസതയോ അതിനൊരു മടുപ്പോ ഒന്നും തോന്നാറില്ല. ബിക്കോസ് എവ്രി സിംഗിൾ ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി ഐ ഗെറ്റ്, ഇഫ് ഐ ഡോണ്ട് പ്രൈസ് മൈ ഗാഡ്. ഞാൻ എപ്പോഴും പാടുന്ന ഒരു പാട്ടുണ്ട്, എങ്ങനെ മറന്നിടും. അത് ജീവിതത്തിൻ്റെ അനുഭവമാണ്. കർത്താവ് നടത്തിയ എല്ലാ വിധങ്ങൾക്കുമായി സ്തോത്രം. I'll try to use English and Malayalam so everybody can follow me. My name is Jyothi. കേരളത്തിൽ കൊല്ലം ജില്ലയിൽ ജനിച്ച് വളർത്തപ്പെടുവാൻ കർത്താവ് എനിക്ക് ഭാഗ്യം തന്നു. കൃപയാൽ ഒരു വിശ്വാസ കുടുംബത്തിൽ ജനിക്കുവാൻ വളരുവാനൊക്കെ കർത്താവ് ഭാഗ്യം തന്നു. നല്ല പ്രായത്തിൽ തന്നെ കർത്താവിനെ രക്ഷിതാവായി സ്വീകരിപ്പാൻ, കർത്താവിനെ ജലത്തിൽ സാക്ഷിപ്പാൻ, ചെറിയ പ്രായത്തിൽ അഭിഷേകം പ്രാപിപ്പാനൊക്കെ കർത്താവ് അവസരം തന്നു. ഞാൻ പിന്നീട് ഇതെല്ലാം പറയുന്നതിൻ്റെ റീസൺ, പക്ഷേ ഞാൻ 10th ഗ്രേഡിലൊക്കെ നന്നായിട്ട് പഠിക്കുമോ, നല്ല മാർക്കൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷേ ഐ എൻഡഡ് അപ്പ് എനിക്ക് മെഡിസിന് പോകണമെന്നായിരുന്നു ആഗ്രഹം. അന്നത് നടന്നില്ല. എനിക്ക് നഴ്സിങ്ങിനാണ് അഡ്മിഷൻ കിട്ടിയത്. ഞാൻ ട്രിവാൻഡ്രം മെഡിക്കൽ കോളേജിൽ നഴ്സിംഗ് ചെയ്യുമായിരുന്നു. BSc നഴ്സിങ്ങിന് പഠിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് അവിടെയും കൃപയാൽ ദൈവവൈതലായി തന്നെ ജീവിപ്പാൻ കർത്താവ് എനിക്ക് അവസരം തന്നു. എൻ്റെ 4th ഇയറിൽ നല്ല ഡ്രീംസൊക്കെ നല്ല എൻ്റെ പീക്ക് ഇതിലായിരിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഇപ്പം ലാസ്റ്റ് ഇയറാണ് നമ്മുടെ എക്സാം കഴിയും. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് മൈ ഗോൾ വാസ് ടു ഗോ ടു US. അപ്പം അങ്ങനെ ബി ഡൂയിങ് എ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് തിങ്സ്, ഹയർ സ്റ്റഡീസ്, അങ്ങനെ ഒത്തിരിയും ഡ്രീംസ് ഉള്ള സമയത്ത് all on a sudden, on a fine day, I was doing a paper presentation in Trivandrum Medical College. അങ്ങനെ പുൾപിറ്റിൽ നിന്ന് ഞാൻ താഴോട്ട് ഇറങ്ങുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഐ ഫെൽറ്റ് എ ബാക്ക് പെയിൻ. ആൻഡ് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് വീണില്ല, ഒന്നും ചെയ്തില്ല, ഇത്ര ഒരു ഹൈറ്റേ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നുള്ളൂ. സോ ഞാൻ താഴോട്ട് ഇറങ്ങുമ്പം ഐ ഫെൽറ്റ് ദ ബാക്ക് പെയിൻ ഫോർ ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് ടൈം ഇൻ മൈ ലൈഫ്. പക്ഷേ ആസ് ടൈം ഗോസ്, ലൈക്ക് എ ഫ്യൂ മിനിറ്റ്സ് കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോഴേക്കും പെയിൻ വാസ് ഗെറ്റിംഗ് ഇൻറ്റൻസ്. ഇറ്റ് വാസ് റേഡിയേറ്റിംഗ് ഓൾ ദ വേ ടു മൈ ലെഫ്റ്റ് ലെഗ്. അവരെന്നെ നേരെ കാഷ്വാലിറ്റിയിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോയി. സോ ദേ ഡിഡ് ദ ഇനിഷ്യൽ എക്സാം ആൻഡ് ദേ സെഡ് ഇറ്റ് ലുക്സ് ലൈക്ക് ഡിസ്ക് പ്രൊലാപ്സ്. അപ്പം മെഡിക്കൽ ഫീൽഡിലുള്ളവർക്കറിയാം, അത് നമ്മുടെ നട്ടലിൻ്റെ ഒരു കണ്ണി തെന്നിപ്പോവുക ചെയ്ത്. സോ എനിവേ ദേ ഗേവ് മീ സം ഇനിഷ്യൽ ട്രീറ്റ്മെൻറ്റ്സ് ആൻഡ് ദേ സെൻഡ് മീ ടു ദ ഹോസ്റ്റൽ. അപ്പോൾ നഴ്സിംഗ് ഹോസ്റ്റലും ഇത് ക്യാമ്പസിലെല്ലാം. സോ ഐ വാസ് ഇൻ ദ ബെഡ്. But couple of days later, my friends realized I am not moving my left leg and down. So they took me back to the doctors and they did the MRI. After the MRI, they said, you are the most unfortunate kid that we have ever seen because it has caused a lot of damage and your spine looks like someone who has a lot of damage to the spine long time. പക്ഷേ എനിക്ക് അന്ന് വരെ ഒരു നടുവേദനയോ ഒരു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടോ ഒന്നും ഒരിക്കലും ഉണ്ടായിട്ടില്ല. പക്ഷേ ദ MRI വാസ് അൺഫേവറബിൾ. അവർ ട്രാക്ഷനും എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ വെയിറ്റൊക്കെ ഇട്ട് ദേ സെൻഡ് മീ ബാക്ക് ടു ദ ഹോസ്റ്റൽ. God provided a lot of friends, God provided a lot of people to care for me. As we heard, we have a praying family. Entire Kerala, US, India, the prayer requests went all over. All on a sudden, like I was a very active person in so many places. അങ്ങനെ അത്രയും ആക്റ്റീവായിട്ടിരുന്ന ഞാൻ all on a sudden bedridden ആയി എന്ന് കേൾക്കുന്നത്, it was such a shocking news for everybody. Anyway, everybody started praying. There were prayer cells opened. Lot of things, lot of people prayed. And I was transferred from my hostel room to the medical college main students room. So അവിടെ ഞാൻ കിടക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് I cannot be thankless, I cannot be ungrateful. I had so many friends, families, church members, ICPF, Jesus Youth, lot of organizations. Everybody come sit around my table. My parents, I cannot forget my mom, my mom's side of the family. There were a lot of prayers, okay? I'll tell you why am I saying this. At that time, there were a lot of questions that my friends raised because I used to run Jesus Youth. It's a Catholic student movement, you all know. I used to go for that because that's the only way I can gain my Catholic friends, So I'll get them to ICPF, I'll get them to, like the other small college groups. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every single day in the evening, I have meetings to conduct. So my friends asked me at that time, Jyothi, we don't talk about Jesus. We don't talk about Jesus' healing power. We don't share any God's word or anything. That was my passion. Why this happened to you? So I don't have any answer for that question. Why did this happen to me? Is it because of my sins, my parents' sins, my family's sin? Those are the questions that you face first. But I didn't have the answer for that. But whatever it is, I knew I was bedridden. So while I was bedridden in that medical college room, initial days, as I said, a lot of people came, prayed for me, gave me the initial messages like, you are going to get up, you are going to walk, you are going to get better, and all those things. Months passed. First month passed, second month passed, third month passed. People started preparing me in a different way. People started telling me about people who sat in a wheelchair and did great things for the Lord. People who were still bedridden and did great things. People who were blind and did great things for the Lord. They started preparing me in a different way. So I started thinking in my mind, okay, everybody seems like they have lost the hope. And everybody seems like they're all preparing me for the worst, So did I lose hope? I don't know, honestly. Like I always had the thought that God is going to heal me and this is actually something good going to happen. But days went by, first month, second month, third month, fourth month. Every friend of mine is in the classroom attending classes. I am in the bed. Evening they come. They share what happened in the class all day. They all joke and they try to cheer me up. Even though I cheer up with them when they are there, there is a time that everyone leaves you. At the end of the day, I sit there and I think, not sit there, I actually am lying down, head down, legs up. From here down, there is like weights hanging, try to see if it's getting better. Anyway, lying like that, it's not fun. So I lie down there, I think, God, what's going to happen? Age of 21, every dream is at its best. What's my future? All my friends are talking about taking exam, their future plans and all those things. I have nothing in my mind. So I had so many dreams. I was one of the smartest in the class, but I have no idea where am I heading to. But one of those nights, I heard a very gentle voice. As I said earlier, I didn't know where it was. The verse says like this, Ade nee kashtada marakkum, ozhugipoya vellam pole adine orkum. I was searching everywhere in the Bible. We didn't have smartphones at that time. Ade nee kashtada marakkum, ozhugipoya vellam pole adine orkum. So I finally found that it is in the book of Job. So then I actually started feeling that, God is telling me things are going to change at some point. Okay, days went by. I'm going to make it very fast. I know time is getting short. So it is time for us to take the exam, BSc Nursing fourth year exam. Those who are familiar with Kerala system, in the Malayalam-Pentecostal or whatever newspaper, they usually publish exams for the month, the whole exams for the month. University exams and all those. Every exam date came out, but for the BSc Nursing Kerala University exam, they said indefinitely postponed. Everybody was like, there was no reason, nobody knew why it is getting postponed and all those things. So my friends came and said, Jyothi, maybe it's for you, because maybe it's for you. I had no hope even then, but what happened is the same day we came to know that one of our principal is getting transferred and another principal is coming there who is actually a believer. She got a punishment transfer for very unusual thing, you know, like she didn't do anything wrong. Still, she got moved by the government to take charge of our college. So all on a sudden, you know, my friend came and told me, Jyothi, you know, like, madam is, her name is Shalomi George, you know, if you know her. So I usually mention her in all my testimonies. I'm very thankful for her love for believers. വചനം പറയുന്ന പോലെ ആകയാൽ കഴിയുന്നിടത്തോളം എല്ലാവർക്കും വിശേഷാൽ സഹവിശ്വാസികൾക്ക് നന്മ ചെയ്യുക. I remember her all the time when I hear that. The moment she heard it's a believer, you know, ഒരു വിശ്വാസി കൊച്ച ആ സ്റ്റുഡൻറ് റൂമിൽ കിടക്കുന്നതെന്ന് അറിഞ്ഞ ഉടനെ she was very burdened. She has never seen me. She only heard about me, and the same evening she came to visit me. So she looked through my whole profile. I'm an A+ student in every single exam. So she said, we need to get her take the exam. She called the staff, and then everybody is like, she didn't have any attendance. She was in the bed all this time. So she said, we'll try to do something. She'll make me do some assignments. My friends will sit by. God provided a lot of people for me. I was not a people's person, you know, but God provided a lot of people to care for me. So head down, I scribbled things, you know, whatever they asked, I made it and sent it over. Then we have to have some community posting. If anyone is from India, Kerala, they know. Like we go to houses and check things and all those. I cannot even walk myself. I cannot even sit up by myself. Somehow they made me do all the assignments. She cleared me for the exam. The day she said, I'm going to approve you to take the exam, she didn't do anything wrong. She didn't do any unusual favoritism or anything. She did a lot of other ways to give me the time to take exam. Anyway, the day she said she's going to approve me for the exam, you know what happened? The next morning, the exam date came. Nobody, she put me also in the list. And the next day's newspaper said, in 7 days, the BSc nursing exam is going to happen. Reality hit me. I am ready. I am approved for the exam, but I have no idea what subjects am I taking, because all those are new subjects like psychiatry and all those. I have no idea what that is because I have never attended a class. Anyway, they said, oh, so my friend said, okay, we will just make you listen all these things. You know, I'm on painkillers. I'm on a lot of medications. I'm on steroids. And one thing I missed in between was, you know, like they took me twice to do some injections or surgery or anything. Initially, they planned for a surgery. Then the surgeon came out and said, no, it's not, like we cannot surgically do anything in the back. She will lose both the sides and we don't want to take that risk. So they just did some injections on the back. You know, no anesthesia, nothing. They will just inject. It's not like epidurals here. Here we do it in a very gentle fashion, but back home, they just go ahead and do those things, you know. When that happened, you know, one thing I realized, without any anesthesia, when they injected that small needle to my back, I knew how much it was hurting. For 1 second, I thought on the cross, there was no anesthesia. There was huge nails that went in for yours and mine. That's one side thought I always like to remember. So even that small needle was unbearable. What he did for you and me is way better than, way higher than, you know, and that is real. Anyway, after all those, the exam date come. We wanted a doctor's note saying that I'm cleared to take 3-hour exam. My friends went, they asked for a letter, and my doctor said she can never sit continuously for 3 hours. That was, the worldly doctor wrote it in a letter pad, signed and sealed and gave it. ഒരിക്കലും ജീവിതത്തിൽ 3 hour continuous ഇരിക്കത്തില്ല എന്ന് they sealed and gave it. My friends came very disappointed. They showed me the letter. I said, we are just going to tear it off, you know. I said, just go and tell that we didn't get that letter. We tore it off. Anyway, my teacher said, no matter what, she's taking the exam. I was not prepared. You know, I only had things that I heard vaguely. I fall asleep. Then I listened to them. Somehow I took the exam. Then we have the practical spending. before the practicals, like there's a gap between theory and practical, so I badly wanted to go home, because if I stay back, my friends has to stay back, because for me to get up, move from the bed, do anything in the bed, I need help. And like being a ladies' hostel, only they will allow female, and they don't allow parents or anybody to be inside. So I was like, please come and get me. So my brother and my family made arrangements to take me home. They provided me everything that they could. I went home. That's when really my church people and everybody were able to come see me. It was such a shock for them. I was a very active person in the church, For anything and everything, I was always there. No matter there is fasting, there is exams coming, whatever it is. We were brought up in such a way that even if you're missing your exam, you're going to the church. So that morning, it is a fasting prayer that's happening in our church. So I woke up, I told my brother, he used to be always by my bedside. I tell him, he always want to make sure I am being cared for, whatever I want. So even though he's younger, I told him, I want to go to church today. It was such a shock, mom has gone for work. My mom's sister, older to Gracie, she did night duty and she came home. So all on a sudden, I am very stubborn, sitting there saying, lying down there saying, I want to go to church. I want to go for the fasting prayer. All on a sudden, they said, seeing you like this in the house, everybody is disappointed. Everybody is so depressed. You going like this to the church is going to make everybody so sad. I said, no, I really would like to go. So Jobin right away said, if she want to go, we are going to take her. We'll get her ready. So just like, കൊളത്തിൻ്റെ കരയെ കിടന്ന് പുള്ളി പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ, വെള്ളം കലക്കുമ്പോൾ എന്നെ കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ ആരുമില്ല. So whatever it is, I asked him, I need to go. He was ready to do that for me. These are some messages which I will try to touch at the end. But anyway, we were there. The worship is going on. It's a local church. It's a local pastor Appachan. He's such an old Appachan. Not like a prophet, not like somebody with some miraculous things, nothing. There was no special pastors, nothing. It's a very local church, something like this. Everybody was worshiping. And, I used to be on my knees long time and worship the Lord. Everyone was worshiping Albudam Yeshuvin Namam, I'm not talking about that specificity of that song, but I still remember when everybody was worshiping, I was thinking, Kartave, eniki kai adikkan polum pattathilla, because I am holding on to the window because I couldn't stay up or stand up by myself. And being in the bed so many months, I lose the tone of all my muscles. So when the worship was at its peak, I was like, I started crying. I said, I used to be on my knees for hours and hours, and I used to worship. And I cannot even clap my hands at this point. I was breaking out in His presence. And all on a sudden, repeatedly, I have like a very loud voice. And I repeated from the back, Mudandullavar kudichuyerum umarellam studi muzhakkum. I repeatedly sang it from the back. And everybody started singing along. And all on a sudden, after 9 long months, the first time wherever I felt the pain, I felt something touch me. And all on a sudden, I felt the blood gushing to my left leg. After 9 long months, I felt life in my left side. And right away, I pulled out my braces and all those. I took few steps. Me standing all alone itself is a big testimony, because they have seen me like that for 9 long months. This is not a kettugatha. This is not something that happened in the old age. This is something that happened in this century in my life. Kartav completely healed. I was able to go back and show myself to the doctors. They wanted to take another MRI to compare from prior. I said, that's fine, and you can do it. I still have those images in my house. The second MRI In the first MRI, I don't have many things around the lower back area. It's like very degenerated kind of picture. Whereas the second MRI, completely healed, perfectly normal anatomy, nothing abnormal in it. It was very, very perfect. And one quick thing, when the doctors wrote many things, there were limitations. They have given me a lot of limitations. No childbearing, you will not be able to have kids. Lot of no's and no's and no's and no's. When the proposal came from my husband, I told them, I may not be able to do anything. I may not be able to bend. I may not be able to bear kids. I may not be able to do a lot of things like a normal female can do. He said, he's from a Catholic background. I want everybody to listen to this. I was born and brought up as a Pentecostal. He's from a Catholic background. But one thing he told me, Jyothi, if God healed you, I believe it is 100%. He won't leave few things behind, and he won't leave few things unrepaired. If God has healed you, he does that completely. Exams done, results came, and just for the glory of God, let me tell you, I was the 3rd rank holder in that exam. Usually they acknowledge as first and second, and after that is my marks. Why did I say this? Humanly impossible. I was a very smart student, I said in the beginning, and I thought I can do a lot of things. I didn't get into medicine, like things that I thought I will be able to do, I was unable to do. But there was a moment where I submitted and I told God, I am zero, like I don't even know the subjects. I don't even know what I'm taking. Just went, scribbled something and came. He was my only ashrayam. And when God became the hero, God gave me the best marks than any other exams in my nursing career. The world said I won't even complete nursing. But God's promise when we were young was, your daughter will be a doctor and your son will be an engineer. That was the promise given to my mom. I used to think a lot of time, Karthav, uttri promises like, but still I'm not even completing nursing. There were questions, I'm a human being, right? But if God has told you something, it's yes and amen. If God has told you He's going to do something, He will do it, but in His time. കൃപയാൽ ഇവിടെ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് മെഡിസിൻ ചെയ്യാനും ഐ എം പ്രാക്ടീസിങ് ആസ് എ ഫിസിഷ്യൻ ഫോർ ദ ഗ്ലോറി ഓഫ് ഗാഡ്. നഴ്സിംഗ് പോലും കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ചെയ്യത്തില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ സ്ഥാനത്ത് ഈ ലോകത്തിലെ ഡോക്ടേഴ്സ് എല്ലാം നോ പറഞ്ഞ പല കാര്യങ്ങളിലും എൻ്റെ പേഷ്യൻസിനോടും whenever I am delivering some bad news, I can tell it from my experience, God is the ultimate healer. I have limitations as a worldly doctor. I can only say what the images tells me. I can only say what the research tells me. But beyond all researches, beyond all experiences, beyond all that we have seen so far, there is an ultimate healer. If He does something, it is 100%. I don't know who God is talking to. If He does something in your life, it is 100%. കർത്താവ് ഒരിക്കലും 99 ചെയ്തിട്ട് ബാക്കി 1% പിന്നെ നോക്കാമെന്ന് പറയത്തില്ല. If He does something, if He has promised you something, it's always yes and amen. No matter what research says, no matter what past experience says, no matter what the worldly doctors sealed and given you, no matter the timeline they have mentioned, nothing matters. He is the ultimate healer. Who needs to hear this? He is the ultimate healer. If you have asked, God made me a testimony. As I always say, without a test, there is no testimony. You need to be prepared for the test. If your life is a mess at this point, you're thinking, I cannot do anything. What will be the future of my kids? What will happen if something happens to me? Everything is a mess. My financial situation is a mess. My emotional state is a mess. My spiritual life is a mess. My personal relations is a mess. If you are going through any of this, He's preparing you for a message. I am a living testimony. I'm a human being. I have my own flaws. I have my own emotional ups and downs. പക്ഷേ വിശ്വസ്തനായ ഒരു കർത്താവുണ്ട്. Every single opportunity I get, I try to remind everybody, the test you are going through right now, you might think you might be all alone in it. No, He is with you. He is preparing you for a testimony. You know, God's time period to prepare me was 9 months. Yours might be years together. You might be going through it all alone together, but He is with you. He has promised you something. He has called you into this. He is an ultimate healer. കർത്താവിൽ പൂർണ്ണമായിട്ട് ആശ്രയിച്ചാൽ നമ്മുടെ സ്വന്തം എല്ലാം കളഞ്ഞിട്ട് കർത്താവ് നമുക്ക് തന്ന വാഗ്ദത്തങ്ങൾ മാത്രം മുറുകെ പിടിച്ചാൽ കർത്താവ് എന്തെങ്കിലും പ്രോമിസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇറ്റ്സ് യെസ് ആൻഡ് ആമേൻ. നമ്മളുടേതായ എല്ലാ ആവശ്യങ്ങളും എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും അറിയുന്ന ഒരു കർത്താവുണ്ട്. There were questions that can never be answered. Why you? Why me? We might be asking the same questions. Not every question have an answer. You will see, you will understand what you went through once you see the ultimate result. May God bless us with these words.